shout out to Joe. He might not be here today, but he did put this on my radar. I didn't even notice this article came out. It is on movieweb.com. It is about the new Taylor Swift concert film that's coming to theaters next month, the Eras Tour. If you haven't heard of the Eras Tour, I don't know what rock you've been under, because this damn thing has been one of the biggest tours in like the history of music. I haven't been. I haven't been. I can't afford it. And at those prices for sure. But as far as Taylor Swift is concerned, I don't know. Like, you know what's funny? Taylor Swift is probably like, this is a rare thing for me to say. I like a lot of her songs, but I've never once listened to a whole album of hers. I've
That's
never
fair.
once listened to a whole album. I like a lot of her songs. I'm not a big fan of like the 3 or 4 singles that she has right now that I play on my radio show every single hour. I'm not a big fan of any of those, but she does have a handful of songs I thoroughly enjoy. A lot of her early country stuff too.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
But she is probably the biggest artist in music right now as far as ticket sales are concerned. A stat I heard a while ago blew me away when she performed in Tampa. Like when she was doing, and now I think she's on the international leg of her tour, but when she had this tour in America, the financial impact to the cities was astronomical.
Hmm.
Was astronomical. The tourism revenue. The stat that blew me away was Tampa Bay, which hosted the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. It was when Tom Brady and the Buccaneers went to the Super Bowl and faced Kansas City Chiefs. It was the first time a team got to play a Super Bowl in their home city and their home stadium. The mayor of Tampa Bay came out and said that the revenue the city got from the Eras Tour when Taylor Swift performed there was about, I think, just a tick short of what they got for the Super Bowl.
Taylor Swift boosts local communities the way that sports teams want to believe they boost local communities in terms of like economic development. Because you know those commercials where it's like, this new stadium will sustain large scale, and it's not to say that they don't help the local neighborhoods in there.
It's a little tougher when they tax the shit out of the residents in order to pay for the stadiums, i.e. Hamilton
Yeah.
County, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, a lot of them. We could go on a long list of them.
That's why I'm curious to see how the Bears are planning to fund the Arlington Heights project.
Yeah, I don't know. There's even some back and forth. We're not gonna get into that. In terms of Taylor Swift herself, I think we're supporting from a long distance. I think I stopped really concertedly listening to her. Not that I even got too into her, but I think Speak Now, which was when we were in high school, right? That's when I not fell off, because it's not like I was on the train to begin with. But after that, I just kind of put her in the background. But she's been a consistent presence for millions of people, particularly women, and a lot of people in our friend. I don't know. How about your friend group? Because for me, I know at least 2. Someone in my wedding party, she's all in. She's a super Swiftie, and but not toxic one. So kudos to her. Kudos to you, Megan. But and then a cousin from Nebraska, or rather, she moved from the Philippines to Nebraska. And so, she doesn't really have anything to do there. So if she leans on Taylor Swift, I get it. I understand that. So kudos to her. But the effect that she has, she can shut cities down. When she came to Chicago, she shut the whole goddamn city down. Because when I had a coworker, because that weekend I had a coworker who lives in the south side of Chicago, and he had to go on 290 to get to work. To get to where I was working, and he was like, "Damn, why did it take like 2.5 hours?" It's because of Taylor Swift. And he was like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "No further questions asked." He knew exactly. And he's like 50 years old, so it's like he gets it. He gets it. So
We did a contest on the radio for like Taylor Swift tickets or whatever, like to go to the concert. I think it was in Santa Clara. And it far and away exceeded all of our other national contests. It was insane how many entries we got, like as company wide. Like it was astounding. But this thing came on everybody's radar pretty swiftly, no pun intended. Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour, is coming out October 13th to theaters. It's distributed by AMC Theaters and Cinemark Theaters as well. The announcement of this thing was really fast, and Taylor Swift announced it on August 31st on her social media platforms, and tickets went on sale the same day. And I remember I went to the theater. I went to the theater that day or the day after, and I opened up my AMC app, and it was the first thing on the AMC app. And I'm like, shit, this thing's coming to theaters now. I clicked on it, and 4 of the 5 showtimes were sold out for opening day already with this thing. My buddy who manages the theater out by me that I go to all the time, he told me and Catherine this week when we went and saw The Retirement Plan, he was like, yeah, he's like, that thing sold. He's like, my manager said we haven't seen that kind of like pre-sale sellout since Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Like, it's that major. It's at least opening weekend, it's going to be huge. But this Movie Web article is fascinating because the headline talks about like, how successful is this thing really going to be? It might not be as successful as thought per a report that said that when the audience they polled were asked if they were going to go see it in theaters, half of those surveyed had no interest in going to the theaters to see the Eras Tour. The site's conclusion is that the film will only attract fans of the artist, which means it won't be reaching such a wide audience, limiting its greatest success to the pre-sale process, which has been incredibly successful. It's amassed $37 million in pre-sales in the very first day that this thing was announced. So the budget of this thing is between 10 and 20 million. It's making it back opening weekend. The longevity of it is going to be interesting to see, but I don't see how this thing isn't big for at least a couple of weeks. I don't see how this thing isn't big.
That's all she needs. The thing you should not do with Taylor Swift, other pop stars, whatever. And I think a lot of them get a lot of bad rap. I think a lot of them are smarter than we realize. But particularly Taylor Swift, you cannot underestimate her. You should not underestimate her, and it'd be foolish to do so. Particularly in the realm of the music industry, she has proven to be a pretty savvy businesswoman who is not afraid to go to war, and in the right ways. And I mean that particularly with, how she's re-recording all of her songs so that because of the rights issue. She's even gotten into the political game, like American politics, and I think in a fairly healthy way. So, she doesn't need Bieber fever, because remember when that film was everywhere with what was it called?
Never Say Never.
Never Say Never.
I actually pulled up Box Office Mojo for concert films. I'll get into the numbers in a minute.
Yeah. That was a very wide scattershot attempt to, grow the audience there. I think it's pretty clear that this Eras Tour is looking to be more of a targeted, more of a niche thing to solidify, the fans she already has, and she can pick up a couple along the way. Great, but it honestly sounds like the same strategy as car commercials, and that's not an insult, because car commercials, so the saying goes, I actually need to look up to see if this is true or not, but so the saying goes is that car commercials are not actually meant to attract new car customers. It's meant to lock in people who already own that car or own that brand. So it's like, oh, you already own a Toyota commercial. Okay, let's keep you thinking along that Toyota line. That's supposedly what they're meant for. And I think that's what this Eras Tour movie is going to be. And I think you could even say that about a lot of them. Like that Katy Perry movie. I don't think it was there really to recruit new Katy Perry fans, because she's already everywhere on the radio station at the time, like in 2012 or something.
2012 is when Part of Me came out. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Wow. But it's not
which was one of the better concert movies, I might add. You too. Katy Perry Part of Me. That is one of the better concert movies.
I liked, dude, Katy Perry from 2008 to 2013, 14, before she cut her hair and she started rapping. That was it was a pretty good time. You could even
it was.
I got
a lot of bangers.
A lot of those bangers are still great, and her Super Bowl, clearly Taylor Swift hasn't done a Super Bowl, right?
I don't believe so. No,
dude. When she does a Super Bowl, it's gonna be. She's gonna shut that place down. It's a Super Bowl, but yeah.
Here's a question for you here, because I pulled this up on Box Office Mojo. I should have sent it to you to flash to the audience, but either way, take a guess how many concert movies have grossed over $100 million worldwide. Take a guess.
How many concert movies? I'm
Yes.
gonna say a low number. I'm gonna say 4.
0.
Wow, really?
0.
Not well, you know what? That makes sense. That makes sense.
The highest grossing, it's like neck and neck.
Never Say Never.
Justin Bieber, Never Say Never is
What is it
number
neck and
one.
neck
It's
with?
73 million.
I don't know.
Second place, $72 million.
Give me like 3 seconds to come up with a potential answer.
3-letter or 3-word title.
I give up. I don't know.
This Is It, Michael Jackson.
How could I discount Michael
Because
Jackson?
it came out
of course.
3 or 4 months after his death in October of 2009. I saw that in the theater. That was a fun theater experience. Sad, but fun. The thing about that This Is It movie, though, was I remember I've seen it twice. You can tell, and I remember I saw it my mother opening weekend. And I remember even telling my mother, I was like, you can tell that this was not supposed to be seen. Like I like the way it's a great for access and the behind the scenes stuff and like the rehearsals, because the show never happened. He died before the show started. So it was all behind the scenes choreography and stuff. But I remember telling my mom, I said, like, you could just tell the way this is filmed and the way they've edited this, like, this was not supposed to be seen for the public. They were not going to make this movie. This was really probably just background footage that they were going to have for like rehearsals and other things. The only reason this got edited together into a 90-minute movie is to capitalize on the death of Michael Jackson that year. But it was good. And it was sad, though, because you see how everybody's working their ass off. And then he died, like, I think a month or two before that tour was supposed to take place. And that was supposed to be Jackson's retirement tour, was that whole show.
This is it.
Number 3 was Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus, Best of Both Worlds. That came out in 2008 with $65 million. Eddie Murphy Raw is number 4.
Wow. I didn't even think about comedians. Yeah,
From
that makes
1987.
sense. That makes sense.
$50 million. That movie was huge. Number 5, and this is a good, not great comedy special, the original Kings of Comedy from 2000.
Wow. Well, like the Steve Harvey,
D.L. Hughes,
was Bernie
Cedric
Mac in that one?
Bernie Mac. Yeah, who was the third? Who was the
Was
fourth
he in that?
one?
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was D.L. Hughes. It was D.L. Hughes. It was Steve Harvey. It was Bernie Mac and one other one. That tour was huge, though.
It was.
If you go back, I remember I watched that a couple of years ago and reviewed it. I thought it was Cedric the Entertainer.
Yeah.
I wanted to confirm. But some other ones on this list. Couple Kevin Hart movies. Kevin Hart in the early 2010s had a few stand-up specials. One of my all-time favorite comedy specials is number 11. Martin Lawrence Live, Run and Tell Dat. That's number 11. Got to get that a mention. One Direction, This Is Us, the Morgan Spurlock movie. $28 million. I think Taylor Swift becomes the highest grossing concert film.
It depends.
$37 million opening weekend alone on pre-sales would alone make it the biggest opening weekend out of any of these movies.
I'm actually for it, or rather, I agree with your assessment, because her fans are so diverse in age. Because she's been around for literally,
that helps.
15 years now? They have purchasing power. And that makes sense. If she beats, because what is number 1? Is it Bieber?
Justin Bieber, Never Say Never at 73 million.
Yeah. I think she can beat Bieber
handedly.
If she does, I think she can. Will she? I'm actually 50-50 on it. If I'm placing bets, I'm 50-50 on it.
37 million in pre-sales the first day alone, though.
But is it like, is there a ceiling there? Because it's, I don't want to bring down the mood, but like, it's like how Trump has a very, very, very excited base in his campaign, but then he hits a ceiling and then he can't get reelected. I don't want to get into that, but is it a similar
as of a week ago, over 65 million in pre-sales.
Wow.
It is handedly going to be the number 1.
I take it back.
It is handedly going to be the number 1.
Repeat showings or repeat returning customers?
No, that's the thing about these concert movies, though, and this is what, like, going back to Box Office Mojo. Justin Bieber, Never Say Never opened with about $30 million, finished around $73 million. That's kind of rare for these concert movies. A lot of these concert movies, as you said, because you're not wrong, they peak opening weekend. They peak opening weekend because of the demand. You have One Direction grossed 15 million opening weekend, tapped out at 28 million. You have, I'm just going down for the later ones. Part of Me, Katy Perry, 7 million opening weekend. I remember that was considered a big disappointment when that happened. $7 million for Part of Me opening weekend, tapped out at 25 million. Hannah Montana had a little bit of legs, 31 million opening weekend, capped at around 65 million. That's noteworthy though, because that was in less than 700 theaters. So that's actually pretty impressive.
This is actually, I mean, it's not tough because clearly the pre-sales show, but
it's a fascinating discussion though, because I feel like this is one sector of movies that doesn't get a lot of pull. Honestly, because there's not a lot of these movies anymore. There's not a lot of these movies. I'm looking at the release date. Like here, I'm just looking at the release date to see.
There's so many factors. Sorry, go ahead. Go with
the most recent concert movie that Box Office Mojo at least lists is the In Excess Baby Live at Wembley Stadium movie that was in 500 theaters back in December of 19. $161,000 lifetime gross. That was 4 years ago, but you could also chalk that up to the pandemic.
But in 2019?
I'm saying the fact that that was the last recorded concert movie according to Box Office Mojo.
The fact that it's the last one. Okay, yeah.
That was the last one. And a lot of these were so limited release. Shakira in concert was only in 500 theaters. John Fogerty's 50-year trip was only in 500. Roger Waters' Us Plus Them was only in 497. So a lot of these, what's happened, I think, with these movies is they've gotten to the point where they don't get wide releases anymore, like they kind of used to.
Has Beyonce ever put out a concert movie?
Not that I see.
Obviously, the Beyonce stands would be quick to correct this, but I don't think she has. Just from
I don't see one here.
Just from just like this, because I feel like we would have seen it. We would have not seen it, but heard about it and known that it was in theaters. She might. I'm not saying she's past her prime. I'm not saying Beyonce's past her prime. But in terms of the zeitgeist, Taylor Swift has just been consistent. They're mostly consistent. Obviously ups and downs like everyone. But she cannot. Her floor is so high. Her floor is so goddamn high. It's incredible because she fosters her fans so well. Her stories in the pop culture, her drama or whatever, it's usually just boyfriends or something it's like, oh yeah, we can rally around Taylor Swift with the rights issue. That's a dick move for all that. So
I think the crazy thing with this too, I guess the last point I'll make here, crazy thing is that the ripple effect that this has caused. Wikipedia's done a good job in distilling this down. A lot of movies have moved their release dates because of this thing coming out October 13th. Ordinary Angels, the Hilary Swank movie, was supposed to come out the 13th. It's delayed till February of next year now. Priscilla, the Sofia Coppola movie, was supposed to come out October 27th. That moved to November 3rd. Marsh King's Daughter moved from October 6th to November 3rd. There's 7 or 8 movies that moved because of this.
Steve, are you going to see it?
I would like to. I'm actually.
We don't have to discuss it here, but
I'm busy that weekend it comes out. But I would like to watch it. I'm going to try to see it the following weekend. I would like to go see it. Just because the other thing is, I've seen a lot of these concert movies in theaters, and these concert movies are kind of fun.
The only concert movies I've seen are like rock ones, like Led Zeppelin, Queen, Live Aid, the Live Aid concerts.
Not the Live Aid one's good.
So I don't think I've seen a modern pop concert movie. So we'll see if I don't know we'll talk about this later, but I'm curious if our schedule is a little empty then. I actually wouldn't mind talking